Hey, Kings and Dragons, Ranking 551 here. This is a different type of video. We're going to talk about something that works in life and works when you're trying to become friends with someone or something. Now, here's the thing. I want to take a quote for The Incredibles. When everybody is super, no one will be. So that means that when everyone has powers, no one will be special anymore, right? The thing about this is it's the same thing when you're trying to be in high school. As I've said in my other videos, I was both a nerd slash geek and athletic. I want to say jock, but I was jockey. I want to say I'm like One Tree Hill type concept where I'm an asshole or anything. No, our school was more about academics and stuff. But yeah, did we have sports where we played rec basketball where honestly the competition was more competitive and more exciting in those games than at our high school games? Yes. Was I was I still on both sides of that where I had some friend group where it was all about Avengers and DC stuff and Star Wars. Yeah. And then there were my friends where it was all about sports and stuff. The thing here though is why I'm bringing this up is try being something you're not, meaning you're trying to fit in with people and stuff. I was not being something I wasn't. Like I had an interest in sports in both, but I didn't try to change my personality or something. And that's what this video is about. And it's addressed to the second spin-off of the Vampire Diary universe, which is Legacies. Let's talk about Legacies on why it was trying to be something you're not. First off, Legacies, Vampire Diaries, and Originals. Originals was more violent than Vampire Diaries in a way. If you watch it, there's more head decapitation and more villainy stuff in it that is much dark with the Hollow, Dahlia, this, that, whatever. The point is that I mean, don't get me wrong, Dahlia and Silas were both pretty scary villains. I mean, Silas could compel a whole town, and Dahlia could get inside your mind or bring people back from the dead. The point is, though, is that Legacies tried to be something it wasn't. It was about, like, don't get me wrong, the books in Vampire Diaries have no correlation to this. I'm glad that they only focused on vampire witches and werewolves, and then they focused on some slightly supernatural stuff towards the end of the show. But it was like, okay, well, there's sirens. I mean, and then Cade is the devil, so it's all right. It's a little off its rocker, but not fully yet. And then Originals was all about, mostly witch villains. I mean, he got Esther in the first season, pretty much into the second season with Dahlia and them. Into the third season, again, it's the witches helping Lucian and Marcel get the upgraded serum. And then into season 4, it's the Hollow. And into season 5, it's the Nazi vampires and the Hollow once again. Point is that when we get to Legacies, it seems like they already have a united front there with vampires, witches, and werewolves all getting along, which is kind of weird. But the show tried to be childish. And I'm sorry, but that's what it was trying to be. It was childish. If you look at most of those CW shows, it says TV 14. Legacies was trying to address to the younger audience of the 10-year-olds and was trying to be more of this, and I don't want to say it, but more of like this Power Ranger, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball Z concept where it was more lighthearted. It was trying to be a CW or CWS kids show. When you wake up on Saturdays and you watched Yu-Gi-Oh or Frieza versus Goku as the final saga, that's what it was trying to be. It was trying to be childish. The magic was wrong. Dark Josie with that plot was just bizarre. That's not how dark magic works. In the other two shows, if you push yourself too far, like Bonnie did, she died and Jeremy came back and stuff. It's a balance act. You push your magic too far one way, it must take a soul the other way. So if Bonnie is here in the middle and Jeremy's to the right, it takes Jeremy to the right, bringing him back to life in the middle, but then it slides Bonnie to Deathville. That's how the dark magic worked. Freya was in the middle and she was a firstborn Michelson witch, so it was her birthright. But she moved back and forth between death and present because of how powerful she really was. Hope was the most powerful. She swung a pendulum back and forth. Death, good. No, no, no death. No, she will never die. The problem here, though, in Legacies is that everything was bizarre. Like, don't even get me started on Josie and Lizzie's legacy. It's so bizarre, their family dynamic. Oh, Caroline, this, that, what? I don't even understand. Also, the Gemini Coven is stupid because the merge shouldn't have happened anymore, even with it's like, oh, it's a curse on Gemini twins. Well, that's stupid. You're the last surviving two of the Gemini Coven. The only person left is Kai Parker. What the hell is that nonsense? And then Hope's family is not really in the show. So in a way, they broke the vow of always and forever because they weren't around because they were trying to get Klaus's ashes for Hope, which was sad in a way. And it was the most stupidest thing. I also wish Davina was in the show. It probably would have helped Hope more. Davina, in a way, Davina was technically closer to Hope's age, even though she's like 29, like mentally, like her body physically looks like she's still 18 or 19 years old, and Hope was 17 at the time. So I think that if Davina and the actors are actually not that different in age. I think like the actor who plays Davina is like 28 or 29 years old, and Danielle Rose Russell, who plays Hope Michelson, is 23. So it's like a 5 to 6 year difference there. So it's not like that far off, and like Davina would be able to comfort Hope and stuff. So I wish that had happened, but I completely understand where people are coming from, where they're like, I liked Legacies. There were gods. It was cool. It wasn't, but season 4 is where it got back on track because it tried to be there, back to werewolves and witches and stuff. But then it went off track again because of gods. Like, I like the show, but it's not my favorite thing in the world. Like, the thing here is that Malivore should have died by the end of season 1. Like, for originals, by the end of the season, we already had a new villain. In season 1, it was the in season 1, it was the witches trying to kill Hope when she was born. In season 2, it was Esther coming back for midway through the season. Excuse me. And then Dahlia and Finn and everyone else, and then to Freya and stuff. But Freya wasn't really a villain. Going into season 3, it was all about the prophecy and the trinity of Tristan, Lucian, and Aurora. And then going into season 4, it was the Hollow, and into season 5, it was the Nazi vamps and the Hollow again. And when we go into Vampire Diaries, it's the same way. In season 1, it was like Damon. In season 2, was like Elijah, and then the Michelsons in season 3 to 4, Silas, blah, 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 whatever. But in this, we had Malivore for 3 seasons. Then we get to the 4th season, and it's mostly Hope as the villain temporarily, technically. And then we go into gods. What the hell? And Aurora's there somehow. Don't even question me with Aurora. She's just a bitch. But as a fan of the show, I don't really appreciate them trying to be like a fan of both the shows. The only reason I watched Legacies and it was somewhat tolerable was because of Hope. That's the only reason I watched it. I personally think that they should have done a season 6 and 7 of the originals and passed the torch to Hope, where it could have been her trying to unite all 3 factions together, the witches, the vampires, and the werewolves in New Orleans. I also think the other plot should have been deaf to all witches, and somehow that plot should have come in. And then also I have like a third plot where it's like Hope turns off her humanity. She actually triggers her side, and now her family gets scared and they have to come back to New Orleans, and something happens along the lines of that. And Marcel tries to help Hope, but I don't know. The point is that Legacies was definitely one of the biggest fuck up shows of all time, and one of the most failed spinoffs. The only spinoff, one of the most successful spinoffs, I have to say, is Originals. That one did amazing because everyone loved the Michelsons so much. Another spinoff that did pretty well was Cobra Kai on Netflix, from the movies to the show. And that one did really well too. But the point is that Legacies tried to be something it wasn't, and that was the problem. First off, the werewolves don't make any sense. Okay? I mean, like they were just throwing random things here. You can't have a werewolf alpha at the school. It makes no sense. The reason you can't have a werewolf alpha at the school because everyone is part of a different clan. So it's like, okay, we found wolves. It's like, bro, you can't do that. Okay, you can't just throw all wolves together. Hope is technically the Crescent Wolf Alpha. After her mom died, she became the Alpha technically. It's the same way like saying, okay, well, now you threw random powers for the vampires. I don't even know what a head dive is because I don't even remember that was a thing in the two original shows. I do remember though when someone was dying, like Rose or Camille, Klaus and Damon were able to show like memories or like put them in like this world temporarily before they died and stuff. Other than that, I don't really know. And then, the witches are the way they are, but the way that they talk about black magic makes no sense. Like for a siphoner, I guess it could be different but you don't get a dual personality if dark magic works. If it clouded your judgment, what it should have done was bring out your more evil traits, jealousy, anger, hate, you know, the worst traits of you, not giving you a dual personality so much, but giving you more of your angry side. Remember, Klaus never turned off his humanity, but how much worse could he be? So the point is that when Klaus had his humanity on, his anger boiled because of the werewolf temper. The werewolf temper merged with that. And, the same thing can be said about Hope. With her witch nature plus her vamp and werewolf side, all of her emotions are so heightened because of being a firstborn Michelson witch and all of that in between. You're like screwed. But I'm getting off topic. The point is that dark magic doesn't work like that. Why is Alark being such a bitch in this show? I mean, oh, this is your father. Shut the hell up. You don't have any right to say that. You're a bad father too, you nincompoop. And honestly, um, no one good is ever truly good, and no one evil is ever truly evil. What are you talking about, Mr. Alark Saltzman? You cannot say that about Klaus's father. You were just about, weren't you a vampire hunter and an enchanted original at one point that tried to kill Klaus and stuff? What the hell are you on and stuff? Also, didn't you freaking dagger Elijah? And didn't your protege kill Cole and stuff? What the hell are you talking about? And you daggered Rebecca. So fuck you. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say here. So the whole entire thing about like Hope not being able to use black magic is such a stupid thing because technically it is her dark it is technically her ancestors come from both dark like bloodlines, Indu, the Hollow, and then also Esther and Dahlia over here and stuff. But I digress. The point is that the show was trying to be something it wasn't. It should have only focused on the vampires, werewolves, and witches. And what should have happened was maybe some villains come back. It would have been cool to see Michael back and some other ones like Dahlia and Esther maybe come back. Would have been cool to see Hope battling them now, no longer a child and stuff. And maybe it would have been cool for the final season. You get like Lucian and all these characters coming back, and then the Michelsons come back, and Landon is able to bring Haley, Elijah, and Klaus back to help Hope, and it would be probably a cool story or something. Like, don't get me wrong, like Landon maybe would still go to peace somehow. Like, maybe I would have Malivore in for the first season, but after that, it would mostly be get the monsters out of here, and it would mostly be just back to being the werewolves, witches, and everything else as the villain arc and stuff. And I don't know, for me, I just didn't like Landon the way he was. But I don't know, guys, do you agree with me or do you disagree that Legacies was trying to be something it wasn't? Let me know your thoughts. But until next time, guys, don't forget to stay radical. I'll see you in the next one. And as they say for Hope Michelson's family, always and forever indeed. Because let me tell you, this show was probably the worst remake show ever. They should have just done an original second spinoff from that show and made it all about Hope. I never cared about anyone else's legacy. But that's all I got for you guys. So I'll see you in the next one.